And another fascinating history of countries that were linked in their rise and fall to the ocean and shipping is Spain, of course. Christopher Columbus, sailing for Spain, discovered America, as we all know, in 1492. Actually, Hispaniola is where they first settled. And Spain, of course, when they discovered America, fell upon great riches in Mexico and down there in Peru, Bolivia, gold and silver, which helped Spain rise to prominence to one of the most powerful countries in the world, back there in the 16th to early 18th century, 19th century, until eventually it got tied up in the 30-Year War and started declining as England and France and other powers like that rose. But there was the whole history of Spain inexorably intertwined with ships and shipping. And of course, ships have figured prominently in most of the wars that we fought. As Teddy Roosevelt, when he was Assistant Secretary of the Navy, learned, we were over there at War College with some of the people there. If you control the seas, you control the supplies, you generally are the country that's in dominance. So we talk about some of those wars and the kind of ships that we had there, and the wars, of course, ranged greatly from the early days of piracy. Back there with Spain was dominating in the Americas. Obviously, there was a lot of gold to be had by attacking those ships. On land, as they were bringing the gold up by the mules to the Isthmus of Panama and Colombia, and then when they shipped them back to Mother Spain. And of course, that's a whole other story in itself, the golden age of piracy, dating from around the 1660s to the 1730s, until eventually the colonies out there in the Caribbean and elsewhere, mostly dominated at that time by UK and the US, began to eventually fight off piracy. But to this day, we still have some remnants of piracy in other parts of the world, like off the coast of Somalia, as depicted in the movie Captain Phillips, which Tom Hanks stars in. And of course, modern warfare just is there with destroyers and aircraft carriers and submarines, and the whole story of that fascinating story we'll touch upon also in other segments of this series. And it wouldn't be complete to talk about, of course, the role of the ocean and the impact of the ocean upon the great climate change we're having now, global warming, and the rise of the sea level. And we'll be discussing some of that as well. And of course, this has been known for a while, even back in what year? I'll let you guess, and I'll carry the answer. We have Kevin Costner in a movie called Waterworld. It takes place, doesn't say exactly when, but it's sort of suggested that Waterworld takes place sometime around 2500, so we still got a few more years to go before the polar ice caps melt, although some people recently are projecting it more like around 2030, 2035. Hopefully we'll be able to reverse some of that, but we'll talk about that and impact on the ocean and the role that ocean will play in that regard as we get even more ocean than we have today. And then finally, we're going to talk about the future of cruising on the sea. How is it turning? It's turning into a floating entertainment center. We have no longer just wonderful food, wonderful shows. We have ice skating rinks. We have amusement parks. We have scaling, climbing up mountains and so forth. What's next? What other exciting things are in store? And we'll let our imagination roam and be interested to hear your particular thoughts on that subject. But what about the Internet of Things and the drones and shipping, and how will that impact, if at all? Satellites with much greater bandwidth, with greater communications. And what happens if we actually start to see these cruise ships begin to grow food and fish on board the ship, which, by the way, would make things, might make me quite happy back there in 2050 if I was on a cruise ship that could grow its own food, and like a Noah's Ark, and its own animals, and be self-sustainable. I'd stay on animals for quite a bit of time. But anyhow, we'll talk all about that. Please join me in future seminars. It's been fun talking to you. I'll entertain any questions that you have right now. Thank you.